Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Disco Elysium. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today as we talk to, not Noid, we're talking to Egghead. We finally unlocked this thing. Yeah, we did the quest. We also leveled up last episode, which was great. Which means we're probably going to be able to dance. I'm going to try to dance. We have many things to do. Not that. Not that. Not that either. Oh, it's the first one. No, he doesn't want to talk to you. Now he does. He's talking to me right now. And I have hiccups. As I was having hiccups last episode already. And also as I have many times. So, Noid, we were talking about the veracity of the lungs of Dolores Day shining through her body when everybody loved her so much. Also, first off, that doesn't even make sense. But of course, it's typical of constructed realities like this to justifications of just being nonsensical. Just the fact that people believe in them is what is the point, and it is what matters at the end of the day. I don't think I can counter Noid, though. That's interesting. Are you a thought reader? No, let's not say... That is an interesting thing, though, because his dialogue is written in a way that he says the things I was gonna say. It's kind of funny like that. That is, I think, the ultimate joke of his previous dialogue. I sort of missed it because I just took it as a puzzle and I solved the puzzle. It wasn't very difficult. Just pressed one a bunch. You said you were worried. What do you think is wrong with the music? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm still in love with a hardcore. He turns pensive all of a sudden. Sometimes I just feel like Nordic music is in its infancy, you know? For example, take this Arno van Eyck jam I've been pumping for the last month, and will continue pumping for the rest of 51. Isn't something holding it back from being hyper? He thinks for a moment, and then his expression clears. It's like it's only ultra. Oh, man. If you follow Formula 1... This is like the biggest thing of tire, because there's hyper soft tires and there's ultra soft tires and there's super soft tires, and I don't know what is what anymore. I also stopped following Formula 1 because screw them all basically. But yeah, they ditched that in the recent years. But there was a oh my god, I don't know the distinctions. Andre says, I think it's super hardcore, but you're right, it's not hyper hardcore. Yeah, it's only ultra hardcore. Just gonna go against Andre, really. It is, isn't it? Egghead says. He nods in agreement. I knew it. But how could it become hardcore? Or hardercore, rather. I know that the answer in my heart, but cannot think it in my head. If this is not hyper, how could anything be? Wait, I just remembered something. I'm the police. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that question? I want to click it. The young man is bursting with anticipation. And I have a job to do instead of this absurdity, you see? Let's go. Actually, it's more likely to hinder us. Oh. Yeah, I don't know why I said that. It's just weird. Try to think of anything that could make it harder core. What? Egghead looks at you with a customary amazement. Or with customary amazement. Guys, there's something happening in his head. I'm gonna think even harder. Oh yeah, he's doing it! But you're not, says our logic. This is almost certainly a matter that surpasses the limits of reason. Really? My imagination fails me. That wouldn't be logic, though, would it? Shouldn't it be our inland empire or something? I know, so does mine, says Egghead as he laughs and shakes his head. It sounds suspiciously like a question, though. I thought the question was, what is the question? No, this is the answer. Right, that makes sense, actually. Yeah, I can't help you with this right now. I need something else, something extra. Yeah! He's not even the slightest bit disappointed. Our physical instrument... How is that a physical instrument check? Oh, maybe your body can tell you what Arno van Eyck's jam is missing to make it harder core. I could try that. It's not that difficult of a check. Alright, goodbye, Egghead. Oh, actually, before I say goodbye, because I might have trouble getting back in here into this conversation tree. How do you like it in the church? Yeah, back on the case, no disgrace. He pumps his fist in the air, and he says, "Bring it down to party place." The first page of the second chapter. His voice echoes all around the grand hall. All right, goodbye. All right, here comes the night. I don't know anything anymore at all. I'm confused permanently with his character. I don't know much. So that's the thing that we must drink. Let's not. I will not be drinking alcohol. So what I'm looking for is anything that increases my physical instrument. And once that is done, hopefully I will have anything here, because I have 2 things already that increase physical instrument on me. We have a shirt. I think our current shirt also does that. This also increases shivers. Let's go with that. Minus physical instrument on that. Pain threshold. Yeah. Can't do much. That's a shame. Physical instrument is a pain in the ass.
Glorian Church! The place to be! Make some noise, my church people!
Large speakers are set up behind the young man, blasting a familiar song. He stands on stage behind a table, nodding along to the music and waving his hand in the air. In front of him, the audio mixer, one reel spinning. The other reel deck is empty. Cables run hither and thither. On one side, you see an auxiliary line in with the number 4.5 written next to it. Sure. Let's go with a 28%. Yeah, maybe my harder core thingy. Nope, that would be silly. Your body isn't for thinking. It's for robust, wholesome things. Aren't you the Nazi? No, that's endurance. Endurance is the Nazi. The Fury. Things like discos, javelins, and 400-meter hurdles. Discus. Discus is specifically the thing where you throw a disc. I think that's what it is.
Oh, hey, man. It's good to see you.
So didn't we know that composure was going to be terrible? I think so. Let's go with it. That was almost a success. Of course, it wasn't almost a success because that's not how probability works. But I rolled an 11, and I should have rolled a 12. You close your eyes and dream of the shapes your body should form to bring this strange music into life. For now, such ferocity of motion is beyond you.
But just imagine the moves you could pull to this futuristic beat.
Puts a green on your face just to think about it, says our electrochemistry. Even a failed attempt gets the juices flowing and repairs some of the damage done by battles lost. If you up the dose and truly dance, who knows what will happen. So that is specifically composure, and we're gonna dance. Oh no, but it's just, yeah, we're not gonna increase our composure check, because if we do, like, it's a really hard check. So I might as well just save scum, basically. It's a 3% chance, and it's gonna take forever, so I canonically we failed at the dancing. Let's go with that, because like, if it increased my chance, that would be one thing, but it doesn't increase my chance. It will never be enough to increase the chance the way I have things. Okay, now, we have missions to do. Ask of Act. The missing insect case found out the real reason why the trap was empty. Local kids might know. Oh. They might. And we know local kids. Oh, no, wait. Didn't I have to... where am I right now? Oh, yeah, I'm going this way. Didn't I have to talk to Kuno? Thought I did. Didn't I already do that? Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. Because I need to go to Kuno's place. Yeah. Let's have a chat with these kids, though. Nope. These kids don't say anything. Okay. Suliram, Suliram, Ram, Ram. I still think that is the song for the game. the main song of the game. Where are we going? Just clicked on a bunch of things. It doesn't feel... No, that is good. We're going in the right direction. Just a bit of a trek is all. There's traps over there. Then I can cross... No, no, what the heck? No, what? Stop it. What's wrong with you? What? How is that the path? It is! Oh my god, that looks like... I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. It looked like the edge or something. It isn't. So, that's the song. Yep. Wait a minute. Who are these people? Fuck the world.
That's one brutal motor carriage.
Says the young man with Oh, right, I see. Written on his back. It isn't, fortunately.
If I were a real skull right now, I'd jack it, paint it in palm tree livery, then bottom light it neon style.
His companion wears a simple yet elegant slogan. Fuck the world. Oh, right. So, it's this one.
Snazzy shit ripped skull mobile like this would make a fine trophy. We could, like, hang fucking shrunken heads from the side mirrors. Cops' heads, scary tribal shit.
Yeah, tribal shit. A cop carriage like this would have proper skull value.
While I appreciate the interest you take in my brutal motor carriage, I have to stop you right there. The RCM takes threats directed at its property seriously.
It's just theoretical work, Copper. No basis in reality. Man, if we were certified skulls right now...
Who are you?
I can tell you who we're not, cop. We're not snitches or skulls.
Which is not to say that the skulls are bitches and... On the contrary.
The part of the presentation you want to take home with you, cop man, is we're not part of the skulls. Yet.
Yeah, I would like my encyclopedia to kick in right now and tell me who the heck the skulls are. Okay then, says our rhetoric, let's indulge in some intellectual exchange. These young men seem eager to share their beliefs. What's with the jackets? What about them? He says. I can turn to the blonde youth. Oh, that's right. One of them is blonde, the other one is dark-haired. Why does your jacket have that written on it? Well, first off, it's a statement and not necessarily something that characterizes me as a person, even though the statement has character. And I do like piss. The word epitomizes the struggle taking place in the world. Things being defined as they seem, not as they are. And I guess it's also about communal spirit, the future, and truly That's an interesting take, by the way. I want to go back to that. The future and truly appreciating our differences. The things being defined as they seem and not as they are. Well, I propose to you that the things are only what they seem. And they don't exist if they don't seem, basically. At the end of the day, if they are not part of your consciousness, they are not real things. So, things are defined as they seem, necessarily, because they are what they seem. It's pretty simple once you think about it. It's just, you need to engage on that particular line of thought. Also, you've got to admit it catches the eye, and since the Grand Piper is slowly but steadily moving towards basing the economy on attention, it is imperative that the medium itself convey the message. Attention. As the basis of an economy. Which goes back, also that's dashes over there, which goes back to what we were talking about last episode, about well, was it last episode or was it the one before it? About how advertisement is the fundamental aspect of what you desire, of beauty standards in that specific conversation, but other things as well. And attention, of course, advertisement is all about attention. And more recently, although I don't know that this game would have been written with that in mind, more recently, including politics as well, The sort of biggest political revolution of this century so far is indeed turning the well, it's complicated because it's got to do with the media and the way news are generated, but also attention being at the center of certain political philosophies, and creating any amount of public consciousness towards you gets you that attention. And it doesn't really matter if your arguments are right or wrong, all because the marketplace of ideas doesn't work really based on what is right and what is wrong. It works based on how much attention you get, and because that's what the currency is in that marketplace. So it becomes, it's just sort of like a hyper. It's an extra level of the invisible hand of the market, because instead of being just towards what you own, is also towards what you think. And once you analyze things by that perspective, things can become very scary. However, this game has been written for 10 years, so I'm not really sure. I mean, this character could be added later, I suppose. I don't know, but I'm not sure if there's a subtext here that we can read too much into any specific events in our own history that are being sort of referenced here. But that is very important. This is a very important subject. And but more importantly, like, we need to engage this on the level of the game. The Grand Piper. What is the Grand Piper? I'm gonna say it makes sense, but it doesn't, because he's not saying who the heck the Grand Piper is. So for all I know, it's specifically the wrong people, so it wouldn't make sense. Well, I say the wrong people. Really, it's a matter of class. So the wrong class of people, but still. No, well, actually, yeah, that would probably be the easy way of making this not make sense. Because the thing is, when attention becomes when attention becomes the real reason why people think, well, not why a certain person thinks, but rather why the majority of people think a specific way. Like, the means of propagating that attention are really what need to be studied. And in our current day, and I don't think in this setting, so it wouldn't work as well in this setting. And it's very difficult to draw these comparisons because settings have different means of propagating information. But in our current setting, in our real world, journalism in specific has a very marketable role. Not in the sense that it propagates attention, although it does, but rather in the way that news themselves, and we're talking about economics, but we're talking about politics, we're talking about any amount of attention that people in general give to any one subject. It doesn't matter what it is. Journalism, and when I say journalism, I don't just mean, mass media. I mean any sort of, like, even including in our case social media. Because it's not necessarily what you'd call journalism, but every one of us has the same liberties and has the same freedoms that journalists do, even if we are not journalists, because, at the end of the day, anybody can be a journalist, even though we might not have the degree for that or anything. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say here is because the marketability of attention here becomes so imperative for the sustainability of journalism in our own setting, that does shift the way the attention works a lot. Because instead of giving news because they are news, or because they're relevant, or because they're important, there's a shift towards giving news because they garner attention. So that has multiple side effects and very pervasive side effects throughout society. But it does mean there's a sort of slow and steady defamiliarization is not the word, but it's sort of like a desensitization towards large historical movements in our society. This attention here is not anything else but attention away from important things. And it works for news as well. Like, That's the reason why it's so difficult for many people to observe the times they live in from an historical perspective. Because imagine if newspapers, and when I say newspapers, I mean literally any other sort of means of publishing information. Imagine if everybody just talked about how the last, we don't even need to be too broad, but the last year, everybody just talks about what happens in the last year and in the context of the last year. We have a completely different perspective from what we actually have today, because what we talk about is what happened last week, or last day. Sometimes it depends on the context, and depends on the subject, depends on many things, but at most the last month. And any news behind that are irrelevant. They don't matter. They're not news anymore. People don't care. They don't sell anymore. They don't garner attention. And that's the reason why it works like that. And why media tends to focus on things that do garner attention. But that's the side effect. It's just people don't care about context, and they don't care about larger trends, and they're just fixated on the now. And when he says an obvious, and when he just writes there as a slur, and it seems so detached from himself as well, which I think it does, maybe. It's just a means of garnering attention. The subtext here is just so complicated, though. I don't know where he's going, but I'm going to say it makes sense. What I mean by this is we are all that, and that the world is inherently meaningless. Come on. From somebody who, I guess it makes sense. He was complaining about things being defined by what they seem rather than what they are. If you are going to engage with that argument, you can't say what I said, that things are only what they seem, because it's not talking about those terms. What he's saying is that meaning is constructed, rather than... basically, people think... It's just another way of saying that people think what some other person or some other class of people want them to think, rather than they think what is correct. It's just that. I sort of subverted the argument there. The argument is a lot simpler. The thing about what they are rather than what they seem. That thing is just, it's a lot simpler. I engaged on it it wasn't fair for the writer. Why do you have "fuck the world" written on your jacket? I'm going to turn to the other one. Like I said before, many men keep searching for the one, for a so-called true love, which is actually just obsession masquerading as a kinship. The thrill of the chase, the hollowness that fills your chest cavity after catching it. I'm wondering, says our drama, if the poetics come with a jacket, or are they derived from something else entirely? To catch a fish, you need to hurl the lure many times. And even then, it isn't certain that you'll get anything. If you blow the lake up, though... Blow it up? That's a terrible metaphor, yeah. That's the other option. You get more fish in a shorter time, and for time is the essence, and fleeting ever so quickly, one must think of a way to fuck the whole world, and not get caught up in fucking someone. Because when one fucks everything, he fucks nothing, and that, to me, feels glorious. Sticking your dick into the void. That would suck. Get it? Because it's the void. Anyway. I hate to admit it, says our rhetoric, but in a weird way, he's got a point. I don't know that he's got a point. I don't know what he's trying to say. Our composer says, is it a coincidence that here we have two badass jackets and two badass cops? Hey, Kim. Yes? You think it's a coincidence? What is? There are two of us and two of these jackets. The lieutenant looks confused. What are you implying? I don't know. My thoughts come unbidden. I don't know what I'm doing. Kim, I'm lost in this dialogue tree. You know what I'm implying. No, I don't, says Kim. What are you implying? Well, which kind of guy are you? Neither, says Kim. Come on, Kim. It's just a mental exercise. Fine, he says, if only to end this discussion. Theoretically, if I were a juvenile delinquent, if I were to already be down that path, he says, I think the piss one is the stronger of the two statements. That works. I feel more like a fuck the world kind of guy. Seems about right, says Kim. Especially considering your heroic exit attempts. Oh, Half-Light. We can steal the jackets. I can try. I got a lot of Half-Life pens. Half-Life pens? No, Half-Light pens. So are we done here, or one of the jacket owners asks impatiently. I like that they're defined as jacket owners now. You don't need us around for your secret whisper party, do you? Nah, well, talking to you has definitely been something. Because we're gonna need to talk to them, but we need to say goodbye for right now because we're out of time. So for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Disco Elysium. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and leave a comment. Like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.